Hello, I'm Joel Richardson, and today I'm going to talk about Michigan football. Michigan football has always been one of the biggest names in college sports, and with its decorated history of great players that have played in the Maize and Blue in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Michigan football over the past decade, though, has been down, but ever since Jim Harbaugh came, they've been slowly coming back up, and everybody talks about them year in year out, even if they're doing good or bad. Um, Michigan has the most wins ever in college football with 953 total wins, and they also have the highest win percentage in the history of college football, which is at 73%. And ever since Jim Harbaugh's been there, they've had 38 wins and 14 losses, and that'd be a win percentage of 73% as well. But most of the losses that Jim Harbaugh has had at Michigan have been against either rivals or in big games, and that's what he needs to turn around. And some ways they can turn this around and get back to being the dominant Michigan of the late 90s and early 1900s is, for one, they need to revamp the offense. The old style offense from the 1950s that Harbaugh uses just doesn't work, and they run it up the middle too much on first and second down. And just they run the ball in weird times, and they just need to revamp the offense and make it more into a modern offense where they are more up tempo, move the ball around more, fast pace, and just get into the new game that teams like Oklahoma and Alabama and Clemson have used to become great programs and just dominate for the last 10 years while Michigan's been on a low. And they brought in a new guy from Alabama named Josh Gaddis to run the offense instead of Harbaugh because he'd been calling plays and it hadn't been working out. So he's going to take over the reins, and they're going to have a more up-tempo offense, and it's based around the abilities of Shea Patterson, their Michigan starting quarterback, and that should help. They have a really good wide receiver core this year that will be one of the best in the country, if not the best, and that'll help them win a lot of ball games, and that should help them at least compete against their rivals and hopefully beat OSU, which Harbaugh has not done since he's been there, and Notre Dame, he lost to them last year. And another thing they can do is the defensive side is against weaker opponents like the smaller Big Ten schools like Minnesota, Indiana, Rutgers. They run a straight man offense with a bunch of blitzing, and that was great against those teams. But when they face better teams that are a lot quicker, such as OSU or Notre Dame or Florida last year in the bowl game that are quick, the man-to-man and blitzing all the time offense just hurts them, and they give up a lot of yards to the other offense through passing and running because they aren't getting pressure to the quarterback because their other teams are getting the ball out quick. Where teams like Rutgers, who aren't very good and don't have quick guys, they can't get the ball out as quick, so Michigan can get pressure on the quarterback. So in bigger games, Michigan needs to run more zone defense and just not blitz as much against them, because when they blitz all the time against the good and fast teams, they just get burnt, and it hurts them in the long run, and that's why they've been losing those big games but with bad defenses, because Don Brown's defensive mentality is to blitz almost all the time, play man defense. That just doesn't work against quick, fast teams. So against the better teams, they need to run it a little bit more zone and a little bit more laid back defense. They can still keep the same principles of blitz often and be aggressive, but not do it as much to where you're getting burnt. Because teams like OSU and Florida, they run crossing routes with their fast wide receivers, and they get across the middle and be wide open for 10-yard or more gains, and they get a lot of points scored against them because of it. So on the offense and defensive side, they just need to adjust to how the other teams are playing and the personnel and stuff. And if they do that, they'll win a lot of games and they could contend for a Big Ten championship this year, make it to the Big Ten championship, which they have not done since Harbaugh has been there. And they haven't been there since 2004 was the last time they won a Big Ten championship in football, which is crazy because of how good Michigan's been throughout their history in football, with them being the winningest and the highest winning percentage in college football history, that they haven't won a Big Ten championship since 2004, and they haven't even been to the Big Ten championship game that came around a decade ago, because they always lose to OSU or Michigan State or just some team and just don't make it to the game, and they lose their chance at being into the college football playoff that's new, which they haven't been to either because they don't make it to Big Ten championship. They just lose in big games. So for Michigan football to get back to being what it used to be, it needs to modernize the offense, just not blitz as much on defense, and just play smarter and safety or more laid back defense, and they will win a lot more games and finally make it to a Big Ten championship, and hopefully a college football playoff appearance if they can play well and just win the big games that they haven't done since Harbaugh's been there. Thank you for listening.